very basic chord progression, starting with an E minor, going to C major, G major, and then finally D major. Very basic, something good to learn if you're starting out. These chords are used in a wide variety of music, and it's quite easy to play them all. So I'm going to break down each chord for you and show you how to make the transitions and put all that together along with the strumming. It's a little mini lesson here. So E minor, very simple. Tuned in standard tuning. This guitar is a half step down, but in standard tuning, you're going to use your index finger on the 2nd fret of the A string. So that's the B note. That's considered the 5th of the root, which is E. Then you're going to place your middle finger on the 2nd fret of the D string, which is 1 octave up from your low E, and is the next E. It's an octave. And then the rest of the notes can ring out as they are open without having to fret them. So you're going to play all 6 notes for this E minor chord. And together it sounds like that when you strum. Now for the C chord, it's going to be a little bit different fingering. Your middle finger can actually stay in the same spot though. Right there on the 2nd fret of the D string. Then you're going to use your ring finger on the 3rd fret of the A string, which is the C note. And you're going to put your index finger on the 1st fret of the B string, which is also a C note. Which is, in case that confuses you at all, there's no sharp or flat notes in between B and C, or E and F for that matter. Now, in this case, I like to wrap my thumb around the top because I don't want to play the low E string, even though E is a part of the chord, because I want C to be the lowest root note when I play this chord. So it's going to be just these 5 notes right here. Now for the G chord, I like playing a version that includes all 4 fingers. I think it sounds a little brighter and a little bit more powerful. Starting with the top, I'm going to place my pinky on the high E string on the 3rd fret and my ring finger on the 3rd fret of the B string. So this is a D note and this is a G note. And then the 2 in the middle are going to be left open. The one on top is going to be a G, and that's going to be your middle finger on the 3rd fret of the low E string. And then your index finger is going to come down here to the 2nd fret of the A string, which is a B. So altogether you have G, B, D, G, D, G in this format from top to bottom. So you're going to play all 6 strings, and strummed, it rings out pretty nice. The G that some other people play is without this ring finger on that D note down there. So they're going to play, you can tell it sounds just a little different. So if you like the ring of one way versus the other, go for it. I tend to like this way better. And then finally the D chord, from G we can leave our ring finger right where it is on the 3rd fret of the B string. Put our index finger on the 2nd fret of the G string, which is the A note, and our middle finger on the 2nd fret of the high E string, which is F sharp. And similar to when we played the C chord, I like to wrap my thumb around the top, muting this low E string so it doesn't ring out when I strum through. We're going to strum these 5 bottommost notes to make up this D chord. Now what about the transitions? So if we're starting with E minor, we can keep our middle finger where it is, take our index finger off, come over into the C position, put our ring finger on, wrap our thumb around. For G, we have to come completely into a new position. That might be the toughest one. And then for D, our ring finger can stay where it is. And anytime a finger can stay where it is from the previous chord, it's going to help anchor you into that new position. It's going to be easier. So moving from E minor to C is going to be a little easier than moving from C to G. and then from G to D, a little easier than from C to G. Now as far as the strumming pattern, you can do whatever you'd like, but what I was just playing, if I can remember, was so to slow that down for you. Now, the key thing with this strumming pattern is that I tend to alternate between picking out lower notes and higher notes. And what I mean is, the first strum is pretty even, but then I'll chomp into these lower notes a little heavier without maybe hitting the higher notes. They're still ringing out, so it sounds almost like a strum all the way through, but it's not. And then I'll focus more on the higher notes in the latter part of the strum. So let me be really specific so you don't get lost. So that is really like, what you can see is that on that second half of this strumming pattern, I'm starting out just with these 2 or 3 notes on top, and then strumming the last 3 or 4 notes. And I think that adds just a little bit more dynamic into your overall playing than constantly being uniform. Because that can sound a little bit flat, a little monotone, if you will. So once again at full speed, let's play through this. And there you have it, basic chord progression in some of the open chord positions. If you have any questions about this, feel free to comment, and I'll get back to you. Thanks.